Welcome to Notepad. I'm your host, Ibrahim Sani. I hope the first few days of the MCO 2.0 has been treating you well. For us, we have a great show lined up for you this evening. Aerodyne Group is the most interesting company to speak to right now. I repeat, again, the most interesting, largely because they are at the frontier of the digital revolution. They are entering the market with high penetration rate, and of course, their business is global. Because of this and because of their attractability, the question is whether or not they're going to continue to double down their bets in Malaysia, or they're going to pack up their bags and run off to a market which is a little bit more conducive for their business to be conducted at. That is the kind of questions that we will be asking the Aerodyne Group founder and CEO, Kamarul Muhamed, which is on the line with us right now. Kamarul, thanks for taking the time to speak with us.
My pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
So let's look at the whole DT3 conversation right now, which is drone technology, digital transformation and others. Let's go through, in case people have not heard of Aerodyne, let's go through with some of the things that you guys do right now.
Sure, yeah. So we are a DT3 company. So the first DT is drone tech, second is data tech, and the third one is actually digital transformation. So we provide essentially the first part, the drone tech. We provide drone as a service, and we provide this globally. Our final destination or aspiration is to be able to deploy our drone anywhere in the world within 24 hours. Right? We are already in 35 countries right now. Even right now, our clients comes to us as a service provider rather than setting up their own internal drone team, because it makes a lot of sense to use a professional provider like us. So if I were to take parallel to the airline industry, we are like we are the like of Qatar. We are the airline. We are not Airbus or Boeing, but we are the service provider for that, right? So that's the first DT. The second DT is data technology. Drone by itself does not bring much value. It's on top of just really capturing data. The analytics, or rather the insights that you can get from the drone data itself, is what's making it valuable for people to make their decision on, right? So in fact, if you were to look at the value chain of the whole drone technology, the data acquisition itself is less than 15%. So the DT1, where we use drone to capture data, is less than 15%, whereas the data tech is actually more than 60%, 60%. So this is the core solutions, or rather the core business that we do here at Aerodyne. We have a large development team. We have more than 80 people that works on analytics and development in Malaysia alone, and we have another 30 in India right now. So yeah, so our main focus is on the data tech. And at the end of the day, what this is all about is about providing disruptions to our clients' businesses. So we use drone tech, we use data tech, and we deliver solutions that is faster, better, cheaper, and very often safer as well for our client. Yeah, in other words, we replace their traditional methods of, let's say, doing inspection using helicopters or using people boots on the ground to do it, using our drone solutions. And we save typically around 20% of their costs. We even accelerate the process by 4 times faster compared to how they do it previously. So that's actually the disruption part.
The thing about Aerodyne is that, because I will stand by what I say, you guys are the most interesting company to speak of right now, and that's not many companies that I say so. Server Dynamics is one of them, and there's a lot of other companies as well. But why you are the most interesting is because you stand at the cusp of being the first Malaysian true-born unicorn in the country, and we're looking forward towards your listing whenever it may be, wherever it may be as well. The Minister of Mosti, Khairi Jamaluddin, has mentioned that it could very well be Nasdaq and as such. But the question now remains on what's the planning like for Aerodyne for the next few years, because we know that Malaysia isn't a great place in terms of managing regulatory requirements, but that is the situation right now. How are you navigating the regulatory requirements that is imposed on your business to a point where you can still stay in Malaysia and not pack up your bags and leave the country to a more conducive market?
Right. Okay. Well, first of all, our HQ is in Malaysia, and we would like to remain in Malaysia. We are deeply patriotic. We would like to remain in Malaysia, but our operations are global. I mean, today our business from Malaysia account to about 50%. The other 50% is global. But within 3 years from now, I see Malaysia will be less than 20% or even 15%. And it's not because Malaysia is shrinking, it's because our global market is actually growing very, very fast. So I don't really see a reason for us to move beyond Malaysia. Our business in Malaysia also growing very, very fast. There are some regulatory constraints in the past, but I think things have sort of progressed very positively over time. So I'm also very, very excited. I think things are moving on very well, even locally in Malaysia.
So very recently you've received some funding from the government and it was discussed in the parliament. But moving forward, what kind of funding structure are you looking at prior to you eventually being listed right now?
Yeah, I mean, we did receive, not recent, we received that funding early last year, but that's part of a greater fundraise that we closed at our Series B. We are looking at closing another round very soon. But in the long run, we can stay in Malaysia. But the way I look at it, for us to be a global champion, we would be needing to raise funding on the global market rather than locally. And there's many reasons why. One of it, it may sound like a criticism, but it is not. I mean, this is just a reality right now. We'll be looking at raising more funds from Japan or from America or Europe very soon as well. And it's really because we are in the tech industry and the kind of risk profile of investors. We also need investors that understand technology. I give you some very simple analogy, right? Or a simple example. Our peers in America and in Japan, for example, are raising much bigger fund at much higher valuation that Aerodyne can command right now, just because it's being Malaysian. But in terms of size operation, we are much bigger in terms of our depth of solutions and all that. We are way ahead and from these competitors. But yet, our competitors are raising much bigger value. Take a look, for example, there's a fundraise that was just concluded a couple of weeks ago in Japan. A drone company that do only roof inspection, and they can raise $20 million at a very high valuation. And I have a peer of Aerodyne in Japan also, for example. They're a lot smaller than Aerodyne. They're getting a valuation double than our valuation as well. So it's just the global economics, on how things are moving right now. So our next fundraise will probably be on the global market.
See, that's the point, right? Because I don't at all blame you guys for looking at global markets and also looking at foreign investors to pump cash into the company, because that's the way it is. And you're right, you hit the right point right just now. You need to find investors that understand your business. And in Malaysia, or at least in Southeast Asia, there aren't a lot of investors that truly understand what you guys do. I pretend to know what you guys do, even I don't know precisely what you guys do, because you need a specific niche to fully develop the business that you guys are in. So right now, what is holding you back from tapping those kind of investors that you speak of, say in the US and in Japan and some investors in Europe? What's slowing that process down? Can you get the money fast so that you can grow faster, particularly at a time when lockdowns are still happening around the world right now?
Actually, nothing really. Being Malaysian means that we have to work a little bit harder on the global market because of country reputations and all that. But that's about it. Once people understand the business, people understand where we are. We are in 35 countries already right now. We are over 460 people right now and growing, even in this deep pandemic situation. We target to be around 2,000 by end of this year. I think global investors do see potential. Even we are being courted by potential investors all the time, actually, to be honest.
All right, let's talk a little bit about some of the businesses that you guys are rolling out very recently. One of them is, of course, with DHL Express. Another one is you entering markets like Austria, Switzerland, Germany. Let's talk about some of the recent activities that you guys have done.
Right, sure. Yeah, well, drone delivery is certainly one of the fastest growing vertical globally in terms of drone services, drone solution. So, of course, we want to use our expertise and our experience in doing large scale operation. So, naturally, drone delivery is right in our crosshair. So right now we are already testing the drones. We are developing the solutions as well. Of course, we will take baby steps. There's a lot of things that we need to, overcome. Getting the regulatory support, developing the systems, and all that to make sure that the operation will be safe and all that. On the other hand, drone delivery is not a new thing. In China, they've been doing it for 5 years already. They've already been doing this in large scale. One of our investors is also from China, so we are getting a lot of input. Another investor is also from Japan. We are also collaborating already. So when we start this, we start with very deep knowledge and experience that we can bring to Malaysia. DHL is a very interesting partner to work with because they have been doing this globally as well. Some of them it ends up just a pockets of POC here and there, but our focus now is actually to go into full commercialization. So that's on the drone delivery side. On top of that, yes, we do have a few other new solutions as well. One is agriculture. Also out of COVID, we sort of started to think about the problem that we have here in Malaysia. We don't have food security. Every year we import more than 50 billion worth of food into the country. And the UN, for example, is already forecasting famine in 2021. This is actually a huge risk for Malaysia as well. So we would like to help address this food security by increasing yield and output locally, help address the reliance on foreign labor. Right now, we have a lot of activities around the country where we are at the mercy of labor from Indonesia and from Bangladesh. We can use automation, we can use drone for that. Now, there are a lot of people already doing it, but they're doing it in a smaller scale. So we are prepared. Aerodyne is committed to invest good money into this solution. And we want to go large scale. We want to offer the solutions nationwide. We've started this just a couple of months ago, 3 months to be exact. We already have a couple of thousands of hectares that we are working on right now. So these are the two main ones that we are focusing on. But of course, business as usual on the other legacy applications that we have.
If you do typical business case analysis on a particular industry, say for instance Porter's Five Forces or any of the similar equivalents out there, it really puts the environment, the market of drone technology as the front leading technology to be in right now. High barriers of entry, deep knowledge of technical expertise, a lot of governmental support needed and a lot of funds needed. But if you are there for the long run, and you're going to be there for a long time until the next competitor can come along and assail your position. So right now the question is, how do you identify which markets to, which niches to pursue instead of going haywire and trying everything within your industry? How do you select which one is more profitable for you to spend your time and energy right now and prioritize one over the other?
Absolutely, a very good question. So basically, we focus on, initially, we focus on infrastructure, and that's the biggest vertical globally, in the past and even now, right? So infrastructure is already a matured market. We have key solutions. We call it our verticality suites. So we're already taking care of power line. We're taking care of wind, solar, ports, bridges. This is a solution base where we are most mature. We already have a mature solutions for this. And when we went abroad, it's about pushing these solutions globally. So we are already, a tech exporter, so to speak, where we sell all of these solutions. And how do we go abroad? It's really by having good technical partners in all these countries where we are in. So these partners, there's a clear synergy. They are also typically a drone service provider as well, but they needed the kind of data tech that we had, or that we have. So that actually brings that clear synergy for those operations globally. So those are the main focus. But there are a few verticals. In fact, the one that I've already mentioned, these two are growing very, very fast. And we don't want to get left out and our strength is really in doing this large-scale operation, and it's already proven, and which is the two that I just mentioned earlier, which is agriculture and drone delivery, and we are really focusing. We are looking at the key market where the demands are there. It's not that we fire and spray everywhere. We focus in Malaysia first now for drone delivery and agriculture, but we look to go beyond the border into Indonesia and Thailand. Then subsequently in year 2 into India and so on and so forth. India is a big market for Aerodyne. They are going to be the second largest economy of the world in 10 years from now, roughly. And the pipeline that we have in India it's amazing, right? So we focus on what we are good at. We are focusing on enhancing our competitive edge. That's why we put a lot of efforts in doing R&D as well, continuous R&D on our solutions, and not just doing those R&D in Malaysia, but we are also doing this again in China and also in India. So in a nutshell, we are looking at it from a global perspective rather than a Malaysian angle.
All right, we'll go for a short break. When we come back, we'll discuss a little bit more about Aerodyne outside of that drone business. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. This is Notepad. I am Ibrahim Sani. On the line is Aerodyne Group's CEO, Kamarul Muhamed. Kamarul, let's talk a little bit more about the business of Aerodyne per se. The way I look at it, Kamarul, is this. Drone is just a means to an end for your business. At the end of the day, you're talking about artificial intelligence, you're talking about augmented reality, and you're talking about delivery as a solution. Doesn't have to be drone, it can be anything else in the process. Right now, of course, you guys are busy in drone. That's how I see your business. Am I somewhat correct in my assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, spot on. Spot on. That's what it is. It's all about using data to gain intelligence that will disrupt and improve clients' operation.
Which is the problem, right? Because you're looking at AI being created and tested, and the model has to be continuously improved on by testers. We're talking about pure hard work, a lot of engineers, a lot of coders. I'm sorry, I sound like a broken record, but do you know what is needed, and do you have the talent to fill that gap? Yes, we're looking at automation at the end of the day, but to get to that automation process, it's going to be a long ride. What's the solution for Aerodyne right now?
Well, Ibrahim, it's actually a journey for us, right? I mean, it's a continuous journey. I mean, we can never say, this is it, guys, we've done it. No, it's not. It's a continuous journey. When we come to the point, hey, we've done something great, and then something else would come up, and then competitors pop up. So it's really is a continuous journey. To keep going is really about putting the right people together. It's about putting the right energy and focus and drive and motivation for the team to keep doing this. It's a journey that never ends, and that's just how it is. I mean, if you look at even the average age of a Fortune 500 companies now is less than 15 years. All right, so industry technology is moving very fast. We have to just keep innovating. We just to be alert on what's happening out there. We don't want to get too driven. We just keep focusing on what we think we wanted to do. It's not going to work. We need to be looking at how to improve businesses out there. It has to be that focused.
Let's look at some of the partners that you're working with right now. MDEC is a clear partner that you guys are working with. You're looking at drone tech test bed, for instance, some initiatives that have been announced at MDEC's recent event, MTM 2020. We're also looking at drone tech as solutions as provided for by MDEC. They've been harping at this for quite some time. How has the relationship been with MDEC and, of course, with the government of Malaysia at large and some of the industries and agencies that is associated with it?
Right, it has been amazing, to be honest, and I'm not pushing this. It really has been amazing, because compared to when we first started just a little over 6 years ago, there was little support from anybody. We were just like plowing away, just keep going. Once the industry gotten the attention of the regulators, Visibility has been there. There's been a lot of engagement. So these are all great help that we've gotten from MDEC, from all the other agencies in the countries as well. So out of this engagement with for example, with the sake of, with the like of Civil Aviation Authority has been going very, very well. Now there's a few drone testbed areas. There's the NTIS, and there's so many people are going into the drone industry now as well. And I'm happy. I mean, to me, I don't see any other drone companies as a competitor. I mean, together we can work together. We can add value to the other. We can enlarge the market size as well. So the visibility has helped a lot. Various incentive has been put in place. I'm happy to hear some people have already raised some fund. And some fund has been allocated as well. Universities have becoming very excited about drone technology. We are talking to almost every universities in Malaysia on joint R&D. So it's an amazing situation to be in 6 years after we started Aerodyne.
Because of that breakneck speed that you guys are growing right now, you can influence how the market is being regulated. How do we, as a user, as a regular Malaysian, ensure that our rights is secured, but at the same time ensuring that businesses like yourselves continue to thrive, considering that you are one of the biggest, if not the biggest player right now in the market, and you can influence regulators to suit your business needs. See, this is the problem with being the only player in a particular market, to a point where there could be little to no oversight to your business. Can you assuage us that you guys are not gaming the system?
Sure. Well, I think the basic premise is that people are afraid of what they don't understand. Right? Historically, I mean that's how it is, right? So our role is really to enlighten, to give clarity to this cloud of uncertainties about drone tech, right? So first of all, when you talk about privacy, you mentioned privacy just now. Privacy is the first thing that was discussed and talked about globally. How do you respect privacy? How do you maintain that you don't encroach on anyone's privacy, for example? And then even safety. Safety is the number one factor, is the passport for operation. For us to be able to operate in 35 countries, we have already addressed these safety issues. Safety issues is actually not just compliance, but building a team of professional crew, and also having the SOPs in place, to run the operation. So all this engagement with the regulators and all that is all about explaining this. I still remember the days, the first time that I walked into DCA then many years ago. They were not interested. I mean, this is like really, this is in the history, right? They say, oh, we are only interested in aircraft that carry human, all right? Really? Yeah, that was like 5 years ago, or even 6 years ago when we started. But now it's different. Civil Aviation Authority right now recognize the importance of drone technology, how it will disrupt industries, how it will become a key, stakeholders or key user of the airspace. So now the conversation is about how do we work on the safe sharing of airspace, for example. What kind of policies and procedures should we have in place to make this happen? So things are moving along very nicely. Again, it was difficult in the past, but I think it's just only a matter of time. Even right now, we are talking about having a UTM, unmanned traffic management, that can interface with the normal ATC, so that the regulators know where all aircraft, or rather where drones are flying. We are now also talking about having an easy to use insurance system in Malaysia. And again, it's not a new idea. Something like this has already been used outside of Malaysia over the past 2 or 3 years, or even more, right? So being a latecomer to a certain extent is easier, because we can then adopt proven use cases from various places around the world.
Yeah, actually the timing is actually not that bad, even though you are right, being a latecomer may not necessarily be of a disadvantage. Look, we have to draw this conversation to a close, but like it or not, from now until whenever you get listed, you're going to be asked these questions a lot. So when are you guys going to get listed? Where are you going to get listed? Where is the listing going to be? And probably how much you guys are going to be valued at? What's your thought on this?
Well, I mean, we have now grown by 800 times in size from when we first started the company in 6 years. We only need to grow another 4 or 5 times to gain a unicorn valuation. And I think it's very much within our means. Hopefully the markets correspond. And now, of course, we have this pandemic. It's a very tough situation. So as far as where the market is going to be, I am, sort of gravitating towards America or Japan at the moment. I think currently those two markets actually understand drone tech very well.
And what is the timeline like?
Uh, Basically, we are not really in a rush. So people go for listing because they want to raise fund through the market. We don't need that. I mean, we have enough fund for the next 3 years, basically right now. If it is business as usual, we have enough fund. So whatever that we are doing right now, if we were to raise more funding, it's actually for additional growth. For example, like now we have COVID, a lot of things are stopping operations and all that. So we can last another 3 years. We have a 3-year worth of runway right now, but we are still raising fund because we are growing, so in order for us to raise fund, we would need to go to a market that understand drone industry, that understand technology.
God. Sorry, all I heard just now was 3 years. So hopefully in 3 years, inshallah, then.
Inshallah, yeah. but we're not in a rush. Our absolute deadline is actually 4 years. So we do have a deadline that we have committed to our existing investors, that we should IPO within 5 years of their investment. But of course, almost 1 year is a goner because of COVID. So yeah, 4 years is
but of course, I mean, I was just teasing. After all, you're right, because you don't go to market if you don't need it, and if you have the runway to carry on your cash for the next 3 years, why should you go to the market? Why should you list in the first place? But okay, final question is this, and it's a very tough question for you to answer. How has the increased political risk of the country affected your business in the eyes of the global markets? When you go across the world, how do they reflect on your business being a Malaysian, and they do read the news about how what things are happening right now in Malaysia?
Well, the political instability, so to speak, to be honest, does not help. But at the end of the day, it's just additional gates that we have to pass. A little bit of extra convincing that we needed to do. At the end of the day, they will be looking at the solution itself. So it has not been a very difficult challenge for us. But I do wish that we as Malaysian, we as the country itself, let's get our act right. Be focused on the future. If we look at where we stand right now, it's actually a worrying situation. The industry is growing. We have lost our position in Southeast Asia. We are no longer the tiger of Asia. Vietnam recently have surpassed Malaysia as well. I think we have now dropped to number 5, I think, as well in Southeast Asia, if not 4. So we have dropped quite behind as well. Let's get our act together, and we can do this. We have the right people, we have the right motivation, and Malaysians are a very hardworking bunch and very talented bunch as well. I think we can do this.
And of course, companies like yourselves are leading the way. Entrepreneurs like yourselves is very, very inspiring, I can tell you that. But for now, that's it, Kamarul, for this interview. That was Kamarul Muhamed, the Group CEO of Aerodyne Group, and also, of course, the founder of the company as well. Watch out for this company. They're going places. So if you want to bet on them now is a good time, because it might be too pricey if you want to bet on them later. That's it for this interview. If you've missed any part of this interview, just head on to astro.com. Look for Notepad over there. There are plenty of interviews like this that can be found there. And of course, I hope the first few days of the lockdown, or the MCO as they call it, is treating you well. Stay safe, and catch you in the next episode.